everyone, my name is Vanessa. Welcome back to my channel. So as I mentioned before, I am a dietetics major, and I think that I didn't really have a lot of education about nutrition before I got into this program, which makes me assume that a lot of you guys don't either. So I want to talk today a little bit about how to build a balanced meal, and especially using this tool called MyPlate. It's funded by the USDA, and it's a really user-friendly platform that can help you find, we'll say, a general range of what a balanced meal would look like based on you. So let's get into it. Before I talk about balanced meals in particular, I just kind of want to talk about these four main ideas of nutrition that we were taught: balance, moderation, variety, and adequacy. And when we start to talk about MyPlate, you'll see how these factors all are really important in playing a role in how a balanced meal is created. So obviously the first one, balance, making sure that we have a little bit of everything from every group, and variety as well. But also having it in the correct amounts, and basically there's no such thing as a healthy food if you really think about it, because even though we all say like broccoli is a healthy food, if you ate broccoli every single day for your whole life, that would not be healthy, because you need to have a certain amount of moderation in your diet. So, and you'll also won't have a lot of variety or balance or adequacy. So that's not considered healthy. So I think just keeping the idea in mind that there is too much and too little of something at a certain point. So it's just important that you try to balance everything that you eat. So, speaking of balanced, what is actually a balanced diet? So, as I said in my introduction video, diet is a word that I think has a really negative stigma around it. But truthfully, my definition of diet is just what we eat. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, that's up for debate, but it's just what we usually eat. So, I think it's important to realize that a lot of people know about the 2,000 calorie diet per day, which is like the daily average caloric intake. And while that's a good general idea, obviously to every single person, there's going to be individual wants and needs for their diet that they can incorporate. So this is just more a blueprint or a guideline. And I want to make my language very careful, because I don't want this to be something where it's like, I need to get it down right to this number in order to be healthy. No. It's just the general ideas that we're teaching, and I think it's important to note that a healthy diet doesn't look the same for everyone, and finding out your needs and what will make you feel better and live a better life, that's up to you. But this is just general tips for someone who might not know how to make a healthy meal on their own. So getting into MyPlate, I will link the MyPlate website. It's basically an embodiment of those four pillars I was talking about earlier. It is a reminder to find your healthy eating style and build it throughout your lifetime. So I think that's something that's also important to note, is that you don't have to make all the changes right away, and actually adding it slowly into your life and being able to make it a long-term skill rather than a short-term goal. That is what nutrition is, and that's how you can lead a balanced life. So it's all about making better habits. So if you go to the website, they have something called a MyPlate plan. And why I like MyPlate so much is it's, yes, 2,000 calorie average per day, but also it lets you customize it for your age, sex, weight, and your physical activity level, which is perfect. So that's really awesome. Over here, this is mine, so the numbers don't really matter, but you can see it'll group it into various food groups for you and give you examples of what a serving size or a cup or whatever would look like. So once you have these numbers, we can talk about the individual food groups and why each of these are important for your body. So I'm going to go ahead and move my recording so you guys can see the slide. So fruits, these are things like kiwis, bananas, strawberries, mangoes, grapes. I personally really like making smoothies at home, and especially if you buy frozen fruit and just juice in bulk or whatever you use. I also like to add Greek yogurt. but it's so much cheaper than buying it out at the store. So I think get a $20 blender off of Amazon if you like smoothies and just make them at home. Also, acai bowls are really great. Fruit bowls, if you like yogurt, as I mentioned before, they're great as toppings. So 1 cup of fruit is going to be like just 1 cup of raw, frozen, or cooked. Half a cup of dried fruit, or 1 cup of 100% fruit juice. Fruits are really good for you because they don't have any cholesterol. They won't have anything that will cause cholesterol to get into your blood, which we try to avoid. It's very low in fat, sodium, and calories, so it can be a high-volume food without having a lot of calories in it. And it contains really important vitamins like vitamin C, fiber, and potassium, which are key to the digestive and excretory system. Very cool. So vegetables, these are things: cauliflower, lettuce, carrots, zucchini, squash, potatoes, yeah, but I think those are more starchy vegetables, so we're talking about leafy greens, spinach, lettuce, awesome stuff. Now, I know a lot of you guys do not like vegetables because I've cooked for you and you specifically don't want them on there. But if you don't like vegetables, that's okay, because there's a lot of things we can do, and a lot of videos I will be making about how we can hide vegetables in food without you guys ever knowing. This could be things like adding pumpkin puree to mac and cheese, or to tomato sauce, things like that. And vegetables are really good, once again, because it has lower calories and a lot of nutrients. So vitamin A, vitamin C, fiber, potassium, and there's no fat. And what I just mean by saying low calorie, high nutrient is that you kind of want foods that are bang for your buck, so lower calorie, higher nutrient is the goal. Because we have something called empty calories, which are like when you were to eat, let's say like a chocolate bar that has very little nutritional value and a lot of calories, that's on the other side of the spectrum. So we want to try and avoid that. So grains, there are 2 kind of groups of grains. There's processed grains and then there's whole grains. So on an anatomy level, you have these 3 parts of a wheat grain: the germ, the endosperm, and the bran. And the germ and the bran have a lot of nutrients, but in processing they're removed because they limit the shelf life. So when you have white rice, you're going to have the image here on the right, and then if you're going to have something like brown rice that still has the hull on it, the bran, then it's going to have something like this. So MyPlate suggests whole grains to make up at least 51% of the grains that you consume. So refined grains are things like white rice, white bread, flour tortillas. You know, they're good for you, but they lack fiber and they lack the nutrients that the germ and the bran would give you. So we want to try and do things with more whole grains. So that's things like quinoa, brown rice, maybe whole wheat pasta. There's a lot of really great whole grains that are also gluten-free as well. So these are good in things like baked goods, pastas. You can use it to thicken sauces as well. And whole grains, as I mentioned before, they have a lot of vitamins and minerals that are really crucial for your body. And so the next group is protein. Keep in mind that you can get protein not only from animals, like seafood, chicken, beefs, eggs, but you can also get it from plant sources. So if you're vegetarian, that would look like things like peas, lentils, beans, legumes, and tofu. And so even if you're not a vegetarian, because red meat, especially very fatty cuts of beef, pork, very fatty types of protein, are very high in saturated fat, it's recommended that you eat more plant-based protein if possible, and I will be making videos on that. And they have very great vitamins B and E, iron, zinc, magnesium, very important for muscle growth. So once again, I just recommend leaner cuts of meat, things like salmon, chicken, eggs, and trying to keep away from really fatty foods because saturated fat is only supposed to make up 10% of your daily calories. And our last group is dairy. So this also includes like milk alternatives. Just check the label because if some of them are not like enriched with vitamins, then you might not be getting like bang for your buck, if you know what I mean. So these are things like low fat, fat-free milk products, Greek yogurt, fortified milk, as I mentioned before, and cheese. I love cheese. calcium is really good for you. Calcium, vitamin D everyone is deficient in vitamin D. You need more vitamin D, girl. Potassium, and it's great because low-fat milk is actually really low in saturated fat. So when we look back at the main plate here, as you can see, it's split up, but just a general rule of thumb, 40 to 65% of your calories per day should come from carbohydrates. So those are things like grains and fruits. There's some in vegetables. And then 10 to 35% of your calories should be coming from a protein source. And 20 to 35% should be fat. So fat, it's not something you have to cut out. Fat's actually really important for you. So, but once again, like I mentioned before, moderation, balance, fat falls into that category. Protein falls into that category. We're just working on getting appropriate amounts for your body, which is what MyPlate really, really helps with. So another great thing about MyPlate is that they actually have YouTube videos that will teach you how to make more balanced meals, and they're very, very easy, like awesome for beginners. I totally recommend it. And honestly, their website in general just has a lot of really great information. So maybe if you have some sort of restriction in your diet, there's a lot of articles about that, like if you're gluten-free or if you're vegetarian. Or if you just don't really know how to cook, they have a lot of really great instructional videos. Or if you have questions, like if you don't know where a food fits, or like if there's certain things you should be limiting, MyPlate's great, in my opinion. So if you guys want to check it out, I will put the link in the video. And if you don't really know how to build a balanced meal, I think this is a great place to start. So thank you. Enjoy.